1991 and has been a professor in the Chemical and Petroleum Engineering Department at Calgary since 2007. He holds not one but 2 industrial research chairs. He holds an NSERC Industrial Research Chair in Reservoir Modeling and an ICOR Industrial Research Chair in Reservoir Simulation. Now I suspect there's actually 2 John Chens based on his insane count of 600 publications, and maybe 1 John Chen occupies each chair, but we only have one of them here to speak to us today. He's working on some very interesting work involving oil sands, involving green energy, and I really look forward to hearing his talk today. Let's welcome John.
Thanks, Dave, for the introduction. Again, thanks to organizers for inviting me to give up this talk. So what I'm going to do is talk about some applications of the map. In particular, as mentioned in heavy oil sands. We're also working on other unconventional oil and gas, like high energy oil and gas. So I'm going to mention some of that too. So again, I'm come from University of Alberta, and we do have a large group, simulation group, about 100 people. Most of the students and research associate. So what I'm going to do is, again, this is an industry price, so I'm going to mention a little bit about my connection with the industry. I know there's a panel, so I'm going to share some of my experience with you. And then I'm going to mention a little bit about unconventional. I'm going to tell you what do we mean by unconventional oil and gas. Now there are a lot of resources. This is an area, it's a very popular area, and a lot of people working on it. It seems not many mathematicians working on it. In particular, engineers, they made a lot of efforts in this area. And also, in one particular area I'm going to talk about is a new emerging recovery process for heavy oil and oil sands in Alberta. And see how math is applied to solve all the problems faced by industry. And finally, I'm going to paint with a summary. The area I'm working on, again, is numerical optical simulation. So I'm going to share a little bit industrial connection with you. Like I mentioned, I graduated 91 from Purdue University. And there are some pioneers in this area, a lot of them, many of them. In particular, for instance, Bitumen, and my former advisor, Douglas, and many others that worked on this area since 1940s, last century. And they used to start this work at Exxon. You know, Exxon is a giant oil producer. So they studied this area. And I do respect those people who I learned a lot from them. I personally had a lot of interaction with them when I was Texas. And the first contact with the industry, it's 1991 when I was graduating, and Exxon tried to recruit me for a job. And why they recruited me? Because my former advisor, Douglas, his first job was at Exxon, so he knows a lot of good people. And Exxon, but I didn't go to Exxon and take another job at the University of Minnesota as a postdoc. And the meaningful collaboration was done when I was assistant professor at Texas A&M. I used to collaborate with another big giant, and Richard Ewers. He was working. Also, we can have a lot of industry connection. So by then, we're working on some of the simulation, also the basic modeling and how to explore oil and gas. So starting from '93, we did a lot of collaborations with local way. We are at A&M College Station, only 1.5 hours away. from Houston and 3 hours away from Dallas. So I have a lot of connections with them. And from them on, and then Exxon and Mobil emerged in 98. So when then we collaborate with Exxon Mobil again on simulation modeling, software development, basic modeling, numerical algorithms. And also, I collaborate with a lot of other companies in the US, for instance, Philips. And then since then on, I collaborate with many companies like Shell from Netherlands, BP from England, Statoil from Norway, and PDVSA from Venezuela, Pemex from Mexico, a lot of companies. So this is all the many collaborations with the industry from '93 up to 2006. And then I moved to Calgary in 2007, at the beginning of 2007. A chair was established in 2007 by the Foundation CMG. CMG means the Compute Modeling Group. It's a company started off by Khalid Aziz, another big pioneer in multiple simulation. He used to be a professor in the chemical and engineering department at the US Calgary. And then he moved to Stanford University. Now he's retired from Stanford University. So that company, CMG, is you may not know, is the largest independent software developer in petroleum production. You know, there's Alberta, a lot of big companies, but the CMG is the largest independent company. And and they produce a lot of simulation software. So I was the first chair sponsored by Foundation CMG. So there's a CMG Limited, that's the software company. There's Foundation CMG, that's the company supporting research. So and then I came here in 2007 to hold on to have this chair. This chair is really unique. It provides a focus in Canadian oil and gas reservoirs. So then since that's 2007, since 2008, and this chair grows has grown a lot. So now the chair grows to NSERC, when everyone knows what we mean by NSERC. Alberta Innovates, that's the local government from Alberta, and the Foundation CMG. And also I'm holding a Alberta Innovates Technology Future Chair. Used to be ICO chair. ICO means Informatic Center of Research Excellence. So this is the former chair, and later on they changed the Alberta Innovative Technology Future. I also have a research consortium that consists of about 15 companies. And we're holding techniques symposium every year, so for 2 days, and about 40 presentations gathered by my student postdocs each year. And all the industry, over 100 people come to the presentations. Most of the time, the student find, I heard some of the panel discussion of how about student getting enough with the industry. And in our case, the student get hired right away when they make presentation in the industry at 2 days. And also they have monthly meetings, sometimes they make weekly meetings. So we're almost collaborate with all companies in Calgary. You know, Calgary is the capital of energy. So a lot of, essentially, all the major companies, they have offices up there. So we collaborate with them, the student get a chance to work on-site. And for instance, I have a 50 PhD student right now. 20 of them already hired by the industry. So they got jobs right 2 or 3 years before the graduation. And also we have a collaboration, simulation visualization center. And this is also very unique. If I have time, I'm going to show you animation about our recent visualization technology using virtual reality, augmented reality. Again, this is something new. We use this popular visualization technology in the rocket simulation. And finally, I'm also supported, we have a global initiative for research, essentially research center. We're also in Beijing. This is the first time the University of Calgary had a center outside of Canada have some, maybe this is the first time any Canadian university have some physical presence in Asia. In the large center, and a lot of, most of the lab equipment, for instance, geophysics, geochemistry, formation stimulation, micro field scale flooding, and rock mechanics, and microstructure rock mechanics. A lot of them, a lot of labs. If you guys come to Beijing, and I'd be happy to show you around. And it's about 12,000 square meters lab over there in a 3-story building, and very convenient to the airport. So this is how the CMG Foundation CMG has grown to this big engine. Yeah. So the missions and the role strategies, as I mentioned, were focused on the energy resources, and also on the other hand, also try to reduce the environmental footprint. And also train a lot of people. Since 2008, I graduated 41 masters, 37 PhDs, 22 postdocs. So we train a lot of students. And the roles are, again, most of through marketing and simulation technology, and respond to institutional, industrial, and government needs. And how we do it? We do it through innovative research, partnership, collaboration, and also top quality personnel. Again, sometimes in math department, you have difficulty to attract good students. In our case, they have 100 applications, so we don't have any problem to get PhD students, postdocs, anything like that. So pretty easy for us. And again, because our collaboration in the past 10 years, in February 2007, we just got an award. It's called NSERC'S Award for Innovation. Some of my collaborators in that collaboration went to a parliament here with me. So this is our Governor General Johnston. And this is the award ceremony evening. And also I went to a parliament here, had a 2 hours meeting with our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. So you can see Justin Trudeau here, some of the ministers and other prize winners. So this is a very brief introduction about my industry connection. So now let me go to something to some of you pretty new, unconventional oil and gas. And as I mentioned, at this moment, most of the technology developments, probably technology is 20 years advance of research. And so there are a lot of unknown square research, but the technology is over there. So what do we mean by the unconventional gas? Unconventional gas means covalent method, tight gas, shale gas, and gas hydrates. And those are again, this is some of them. And the most active one, the first three, covalent method, tight gas, shale gas. And there are a lot of them. So you can see the conventional ones is natural gas. Natural gas normally accumulates at the top of formation of the oil formation. And most of the ones unconventional ones, lots of them. And the production, the research takes much longer time. But now that the industry knows how to produce them and very cheaply, particularly in US and Canada. And also, the complexity of the unconventional resources is getting more complex than conventional ones. And there are lots of them, so you can see the estimated global unconventional gas in the place. This is the only we know, but there are a lot of we haven't explored. And there's this 783,000 trillion standard cubic feet, equivalent to 130 trillion barrel of oil. So there are a lot of them. And how do you distinguish between, for instance, CBM, tight oil, tight gas, shale gas, and conventional gas? This is conventional. So this is the formation they are located. For instance, for shale gas, shale rock, and CBM, go back, and natural gas is the sandstone carbonate, and tight gas is sandstone carbonate. So they're where they're stored. And how they come from? For instance, shale gas come from the thermal and biological process, And the Steam comes from thermal and biological process, the natural gas. In addition, the thermal biological also, here we have chemical reactions, and the gas is also come from the crude oil cracking, and also the tight gas. So this is where the component and how it is preserved. First, shear gas has two forms: free gas. Free gas means gas transport freely, and absorbed gas. Absorbed gas means gas is absorbed on the surface of rock, either inorganic or organic. And also the CBM, most of them absorbed gas, natural gas, free gas, tight gas, free gas. And also can distinguish it in terms of geology. For instance, in terms of rock property, this is the porosity. Porosity means the volume fraction, the pores in the, for instance, in the unit volume. The permeability. Permeability means the conductivity, how the fluid contacts through the rock. So this terms medium Darcy, and also the photocarbon porosity, permeability, and the natural gas and tight oil. So they are, again, there are the distinctions between them. So when you look at the site, you know which one it is. Is it shale gas, tight oil, or other ones? And this is the unconventional gas. There's also unconventional oil, for instance, high oil, shale oil, heavy oil, and bitumen. In the tidal formation, gas and oil could coexist. So it depends on the thermal maturity. When you have more oil, when you have more gas. And also you have heavy oil and bitumen. So in Alberta, most of we have oil, heavy oil sands. Also, in terms of the resources, unconventional, most of the unconventional oils. That's why the conventional ones do not have much. The unconventional ones, because you will never use them up. Never. So, for the global unconventional oil gas, again, it's over 4 trillion barrels of oil. So there are lots of them. Also, in terms of the production, takes much longer research, but now industry know how to produce them. And also in terms of the oil mobility, again, this is the permeability divided by viscosity. Viscosity means the friction resistance, and permeability is, again, conductivity. This means oil mobility. And when you get in more conventional, this one is getting less. So how do you classify the oil? So if the viscosity less than 170 oil, conventional oil is from 110,000 heavy oil, and this one is bitumen. And when the bitumen comes from oil sands. Again, you've heard of there are lots of oil sands in Alberta. And what are the oil sands? So the conditions, most of inorganic material, 70 to 80% of 80%, and this much of which of 90% is quartz sand. And water is 3 to 5%, and bitumen is 10 to 20%. So we produce bitumen from here. If the recovery rate is only 5%, so we only produce 5% of this one. And again, you can see this one is unconsolidated, so you can very easily squeeze oil out of the quartz sands. And again, this is a map in Alberta, and the color over here, this color is oil, and this color is coal, and this color is gas, and oil sands, and also other ones. So you can see Alberta is really rich in oil, gas, and coal. Almost everywhere you dig a coal, you get something. You can get something. Again, if you buy a house over there, you'll find a rich oil field underneath your house. So it's very rich. And the other ones is Banff Jasper National Park. So beautiful place. And so, as I mentioned, this is Alberta and this is Saskatchewan. And the big golden triangle is Bitumen River, Athabasca, and Coeur d'Alene. And all the heavy oil in the bitumen are located here. And how much there is 173 billion barrels. So 1.73 trillion barrels. So you can see, Canada has a lot of oil, most of probably most of it in Alberta. And how we produce them, and 90% of the oil sands, only 10% of other ones, heavy oil and conventional oil. And some of them could be produced by mining, and when the depth is less than 70 meters, you use mining. The other ones you use in situ recovery. And so essentially use enhanced oil recovery. And how I produce them, I'm going to tell you a little bit. And this is the project Canadian bitumen production. Again, nowadays about 3 million barrels per day. And the problem issues is the pipeline. We don't have any pipeline transport the oil out of Alberta. If we have out the pipeline out of Alberta, Alberta could be easily produce 5 or 6 million barrels per day. But the other problem is, so this is the recovery oil resources, and this is the production cost. So this is already produced. This is the oil, conventional oil in the Middle East. This is the other conventional oils. This is the heavy oil bitumen. So you can see the production, the conversion cost for producing heavy oil bitumen is around $55 to $95 per barrel. So at the current oil price, $50 nowadays, $46 per barrel. We don't pay much. It's not even. It's not breaking even. So there are some problems. The one problem is oil price. So at the current oil price, producing heavy oil bitumen is not sustainable. The other one is environmental effect. Again, we're often talking about CO2 emission. And where the CO2 emission comes from, and most come from the steam generation. So the research goal for us, on one hand is reduce the cost, on the other hand is also reduce the amount of water use, because the steam comes from water. And so reduce the water use and also reduce the greenhouse gases release. And so the goal, that's not goal. Reduce cost, reduce greenhouse emission. So what are the current recovery process and what's the emerging new recoveries we're doing? So I'm going to focus on that. So one of the particular ones is steam plus solvent. Again, at this moment, oil sands, heavy oil is produced by inject steam into the formation. To reduce the water use, to reduce emission, we have different options. For instance, add solvent, add chemical, add catalyst, and other additive into steam. There are a lot of research. There's also a lot of pilot tests. So I'm going to show you some of them. Again, this is the theory. This is the Darcy's law. Some of you may work on Stokes or Navier-Stokes equation. When you do some homogenization or volume average, you end up with the Darcy's law. This is the flow rate. This is the area in a particular flow direction. And this is permeability I mentioned. And this is viscosity. And the gradient and the potential. So the permeability, you cannot do much about it. That's the geological feature. But the viscosity, you are able to do something to reduce the viscosity. As I mentioned, the heavy oil viscosity is over 10,000 centigrade. The viscosity of the bitumen is close to 3 to 4 million centigrade. So bitumen is almost immobile. So one strategy to reduce viscosity. There are many different ways to do it. As I mentioned, is steam-based, for instance, steam flooding, cyclic stimulation, and steam-assisted graft drainage, and also purely solvent-based, and also the steam-solvent, and other techniques. So there are a lot of techniques of them. As I mentioned, the steam-based is very expensive and also produce some environmental issues. And but the purely solvent one is a very slow process. It's purely based on diffusion. So the solvent that diffuse into oil that reduces viscosity. And there's other solvent steams. I mentioned a lot of them. I'm going to only mention one of them. And there's other ones. The easy ones means you use electric heating. So here the one of animation.
SAGD, or Steam-Assisted Gravity Drainage, is highly efficient at producing bitumen from the oil sands. 2 parallel horizontal wells are drilled into bitumen reservoirs below ground. Slowly, steam is pumped into the top injector well, heating the thick bitumen. As the bitumen warms up, gravity takes over. The mobilized bitumen drains down into the lower producer well that brings the bitumen back up to the surface for processing.
So this is one of the recovery process invented by one of our colleagues, Alberta. And again, at this moment, 80% of bitumen is produced by this technology, by this recovery process. As I mentioned, there are some issues. So the issue is, for instance, where the greenhouse gases come from. And this is the mine, this is upgraded. And as I mentioned, most come from in situ upgraded. So you can see the CO2 emission to air per year, this is the million tons. So this is the current, this is SAGD, the one I just showed you, the SAGD process. And this is the upgraded, this is the mining. So you can see the main contribution to greenhouses gas emission comes from this one, from the SAGD, So the research goal is reduce the water use and reduce the environment gas. So now instead of use the pure steam, we're going to add some additive. So the additive could be, as mentioned, solvent, or could be oxygen, chemical, or non-condensable gas, for instance, CO2, nitrogen, methane, flue gases, and also catalysts. At this moment, we are working with the industry on all possibilities. We try to compare different technologies. That's why we need to use models, use simulators to try to compare different possibilities. And also, as I mentioned, there's also possibility to use electric heating. Again, there are also companies doing this type. For instance, you drill horizontal well, and first this one is antenna, and you heat the bitumen or oil sands, produce oil through these ones. And again, as one example, I'm just show you this one, the steam plus solvent, and see how math is applied in this area. Not just solve PDE, there are many challenges we could use math to do it. Again, this is the heat, and with heat transport reduce viscosity. This is the solvent. Solvent dilutes in the oil, also reduce the viscosity. So you combine them, you're going to have some possible features. For instance, the possible features, we're going to use water use. Instead of using 3 barrels of water to produce 1 barrel of oil, we could just use 2 barrels of water to produce 1 barrel of oil and add a little bit salt. And also reduce the, for instance, CO2 emissions. And also reduce steam-oil ratio. Less steam produce oil ratio, which means we reduce energy intensity. And also improve oil production rate. And eventually, we want to improve recovery factor. We want to use less, produce more, which means reduce the cost. So this is one of technology. And at least 5-6 companies, they're going to do the pilot test either this year and next year. And some of the students close work with them. And for instance, energy savings. Again, this is the bitumen, this is the viscosity. So if you want to reduce the viscosity to 10 centipoise, so bitumen could move. If we use purely heat, you're gonna need the heat temperature 200 degrees. Instead of using pure steam, I add a small percent, like 5% solvent. I can only need the temperature to 150 to have the same effect. So this is the energy saving. This is the one. And also for the CO2 emission. So this is the current technology, which means this is current technique. Now if I just use solvent-assisted, for instance, this is based on 2 uncertainties, low uncertainty, high uncertainty. And again, you can see also reduce CO2 emission. And you also just use a solvent-based, but this reduce oil rate. Anyway, so if you add some solvent, you see you're going to reduce the CO2 emissions. And how we're going to, other mathematicians, how we're going to help the industry design the new process. Believe it or not, any ideas, any new process is put into pilot or commercialization, they have to through mathematics study. They have to through simulation study. Have to. And so I'm going to tell you some of the math challenges, math applications. What do we need? Of course, we need to understand the physics. So when you have an idea or try to develop a numerical process, we need to find the underlying physics. And also when you try to produce, we need to find out the geology and also rock fluid properties. At the end of the day, no matter how much logic you do, you still need a simulation model to do all the feasibility study, sensitivity study, optimization, all the predictions in simulation. Of course, if we only develop a model without validation, we're not confident. And so to validate the model, we do need some of the data from the lab. And how the simulation model does, the model will identify the key parameters. You have lots of geological parameters, operation parameters, the rock fluid parameters. So you need the models to identify the key parameters. And to predict performance, remember we could use computer to do 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 different simulations to find the best ones, the best match ones to the field. And also optimize. As I mentioned, you have different operations, different parameters. We can use simulator models to optimize the process, and also use the models to meet the requirement and objective. So these are the some of the applications. We use math to do them. For instance, you have recovery process, and how do we know the mechanisms behind the recovery process? For instance, product mechanisms. And this is one of the simulations we did. For instance, this circuit, we just add C5 in the circuit. If you use purely temperature, you'll see the temperature is over 200 degrees. So in the steam chamber, everywhere 200. So use heat to reduce the viscosity. But you add some of the solvent, you'll see around this area is still 200, but near the interface between the heat and the cold oil, cold bitumen, you can see the temperature, you don't need that much. You just need 170. So this is one of the mechanisms we can simulate by the simulator. So find out the real algorithms, real mechanisms, and so around the interface. So the solvent, you have many different solvents. For instance, you have used either C5 or different ones. This one reduces the temperature. So you use more voluntary solvent, you reduce more temperature, but you can reduce the dissolution effect of the solvent into the oil. So this is the mechanisms we can use the model to do it. And as I mentioned, you have many different solvents. You have 1,000 solvent, C1, C5, C2, up to any solvent you can use. So how do you choose the solvent? How do you choose the solvent at different pressure, different temperature? This is something the lab cannot do. This is something other mathematicians will do. For instance, use C3. This may result in a significant temperature drop. If you reduce temperature too much, you reduce oil rate. But if you really use the heavy one, this one is not so efficient. So in reality, we can use simulation to choose the optimal mixture of solvent. So in general, for instance, if you use C3, the rate is here. Use C12, the rate is here. If you use some kind of combination, this is for particular example, you can see this have optimal production rate. So this is another example. We can use math. And also, again, some of our mathematics, we're starting the diffusion process, dispersion process, convection process. And in reality, in physics, the heat diffusion, this is the interface, the diffusion. So from here to here, the diffusion, the length, the thickness is about 10 meters. The thermal diffusion is very, very small. So this means we are the numerical analyst. If we use finely different finite water element to solve this diffusion process, and if the grain size is too large, your numerical diffusion very easily kill this thermal diffusion. So which means the solution, if I use the numerical algorithm, is totally wrong. So which means the algorithm has to respect the thermal diffusion coefficient. And if you use solvent oil, the diffusion process is even smaller. So this gives us another care how to choose the numerical algorithms and also how to refine the message. For instance, around the interface, this diffusion thickness is less than, in terms of centimeters, which means grain size has to be centimeters. If it's a grain size in terms of meters, you kill everything. So here, also we have to use the math to solve the problem. The mathematicians will know which one to use. And also, if you only focus on the diffusion and forget about everything else, for instance, convection, in the dominant mechanisms in the mixing of solvent and bitumen at the interface, it's not diffusion. It's at some temperature pressure, it's convection. Like I mentioned, the diffusion is very small thickness, but in reality, we have no very thick thickness, very big thickness. So we're wondering which one dominates, diffusion or convection. In this particular case, it is convection. So if you only, for instance, most of us only start the diffusion process using Poisson equation or some heat conduction and totally forget about convection, again, we forget about the dominant mechanisms. So other mathematics will know how to handle convection and the diffusion combination. And also, we did a lot of experiment, simulation experiment. This is the diffusion. Near the diffusion, we find a lot of chaotic phenomena that come from convection. This the simulation verifies. And also, the industry, the belief, the most popular belief in industry, the proximity of steam and solvent, saturation temperature will promote co-condensation of steam and solvent. But when we do the simulation, we observe different phenomena. Actually, in reality, this is different from the industry belief. When we do the simulation, the steam condensates deep inside the chamber, and the solvent condensates here. Again, when we do a lot of simulation mathematics studies, we disagree with the engineers or the industry people. So we found a lot of disagreement between us. And also, as I mentioned, you can use this process to reduce the steam oil ratio. So we did a lot of simulations. We find out when we use the solvent somehow with the steam weight going up, that will reduce the heat losses to overburden. So that's another advantage we could discover from our simulation. So again, there are a lot of problems from mathematics. We're working on it. And this is some of them. And the lessons learned from our math, lessons learned. As I mentioned, the physics is also important, geology is important, and the most important part is develop reliable and accurate simulation model. From this model, we can tell industry when to inject solvent. We should inject solvent earlier when the oil concentration is high. So this when the time to inject solvent, the simulation will tell you. And how much to inject solvent. If you inject too little, it's not effective. If you inject too much, the production cost will go high. So we have to find optimal solvent to inject. So in reality, at least 10% or grow for 15% volume to inject this again. And which solvent to inject? In general, a mixture which contains dominant components of C4, C5, and 6. That's good. Mixture to inject. And this is the lessons. Again, a lot of the other ones, but this is the major ones were found from simulations. Again, I do not have much time. Let me do a summary. So currently, the research, I just showed one of them. My research group is focused on the study recovery gas heavy oil bitumen. We also study unconventional gas. This means the tidal shale gas. And oil also development simulators and also develop some of the 3D visualization technology. Okay, I'm going to show you, it's very short visualization. So then I'm going to show you later. The resources we have commercial and also research software. So we collaborate with CMG that we mentioned. 16 of my former peers still now working at CMG that develop all the software. And also we have an in-house research simulator. We have our own hardware simulation lab. We have this visualization lab. We have lots of recovery labs. Again, by working in the engineering department, it's very unique. You collaborate with a lot of people to relax experiment. So some of the labs were here. Again, when you're working on problems, real industrial problems, and you do not collaborate them, you only restrict pure paper writing. But if you really have some lab to support your theory, you may maybe make some meaningful practice. Well, as I mentioned, we also have some other labs, geophysics, chemistry, and microstructure. And again, these are the labs, either for conventional or unconventional oil and gas. And some of the recent papers, for instance, we just published a paper in nanotechnology. So when we're doing fundamental research, fundamentally at the nanoscale, we do publish some of high-quality papers. Nano also age, and also the Proceeding of the National Academy of Science, and also the Nature Scientific Review. So some of the recent publications. So again, as I mentioned, we focus on modeling and simulation. We develop simulation lab, a software process. This will help process design and history matching your process and optimize them. And also validation application, very important. As I mentioned, at the end of the day, we still need the lab to support our theory. And a crucial tool, as I mentioned, for the design, pilot test, and commercial validation is modeling and simulation. As I mentioned, any new recovery process, before they go to field, it has to go through the modeling and simulation study. So the ultimate goal is increase results and reduce capital, increase cost, and enhance digital recovery, and reduce environmental footprint. As I mentioned, Alberta is rich in oil and gas. In addition to oil and gas, Alberta has lots of others. So you can see lots of national labs. And I'm working with a lot of companies. So let me conclude with a very short demo to show us of the visualization technology using virtual reality and augmented reality.
The Collaboration Center is the place where we review and analyze the results of our simulations. We are always seeking to continuously improve and innovate new methods to leverage technologies, including virtual and augmented reality, to find more efficient methods of solving engineering problems. As a service to our industrial partners, we help them with visualizations. For example, you can see here some shots of a visualization created for SkyHunter. The facility is also shared with other faculties such as medicine. We test and evaluate new technologies for potential benefits and readiness for use in engineering applications. Here is a novel approach to working with subsurface data developed in our Visualization Center. This project uses many novel interaction methods to improve the efficiency of working with reservoir data, including easy removal and addition of cells while maintaining context. The evaluation of structures such as wells embedded in the subsurface may also be accomplished more rapidly. We use a novel cutaway technique to evaluate the reservoir data when searching for cells with certain properties, so that we may understand their interaction with other aspects of the reservoir, such as embedded structures. This project uses virtual reality with head-mounted displays, such as the HTC Vive, and our advanced visualization infrastructure to show data with improved perception and context. It also takes advantage of natural interactions such as body movement to easily and efficiently analyze the data. This project is titled Exploring Immersive Interfaces for Well Placement Optimization in Reservoir Models. It uses 3D user interfaces and virtual reality combined with mathematical algorithms to help reservoir engineers plan petroleum well placements. This tool combines both visual analysis and mathematical analysis so that users get the benefit of both. While our simulators help engineers test scenarios, tools such as this one can help reduce the number of simulations required. This is accomplished by helping engineers make better decisions when crafting scenarios before submitting the simulation. This work makes use of natural user interfaces which are so intuitive that grade 9 science camp students were placing wells within 5 minutes of training. This allows for rapid prototyping of scenarios for evaluation. Required time and errors are reduced and therefore should reduce the total cost of designing scenarios. When understanding the geology of a model and how well fluid flow is expected to occur between different areas, virtual reality is extremely helpful as it maintains spatial perception, so that the viability of different well configurations can be seen at a glance. The wide field of view allows the user to see a very large area and the effects within that area at a glance. This user can then effectively deal with a large volume of different information and less clutter than traditional interfaces such as screens. This work was presented to several subject matter experts, specifically reservoir engineers, and feedback on the tool was very positive. However, more features were requested so the prototype may be used for day-to-day work. This was presented at the Spatial User Interfaces 2016 in Tokyo, Japan, a conference with a 25% acceptance rate, with sponsors including Google. This is Flying Frustum. This work was conducted to make it easier to understand the terrain of an area when navigating drones. It resulted in a publication at the International Conference on Human-Agent Interaction 2015. The current prototype uses a paired bebop drone as a UAV. The user can sketch the UAV flight path on the terrain model. During flight, Flying Frustum streams live video from the UAV, which is then correctly situated on the 3D terrain model. Flying Frustum makes it easy for a central location to track drones while maintaining situational and spatial awareness. This could greatly improve the efficiency of tasks, reducing errors, time, and money. This is PlanWell, Spatial User Interface for Collaborative Petroleum Well Planning, published in SIGGRAPH Asia 2015, Mobile Graphics and Interactive Applications. The overseer performs tasks such as drawing a path, cutting an intersection, or selecting an area on the model. The project-specific information is superimposed over the physical environment to create an in-situ awareness of various details. This uses the same 3D printed terrain model with live data provided by an augmented reality overlay. There is real-time collaboration between an explorer in the field and an overseer in the central office. The overseer monitors the location of the explorer in real time. The explorer marks the location and sends it to the overseer. Then the overseer moves the petroleum well to a new position that appears on the explorer's interface. Real-time collaboration between the field and the office allows efficient workflows on tasks such as service planning. When presented to subject matter experts, they thought it had potential to simplify and speed up many service planning workflows, saving time and money. This is Jack VR, a virtual reality training system for landing oil rigs. This work was published in the International Symposium on Visual Computing 2015. It is a virtual reality system that allows users to train and run scenarios around landing jackup rigs for deep water oil and gas production. This can be a very skill-intensive task where the consequences can be very high if it is not done correctly. Through VR simulation of this process, training and scenario evaluation can be performed in a risk-free environment.
I showed this video on Ireland here when I was in that group. Yeah. Okay, that's all for my talk. Thanks for your attention.
You mentioned cost of production, but there is other metrics called energy return from energy investment. That is how much energy you spend to extract that much energy.
Right.
So what is the value of this parameter currently? This is seen in our technique and projected to the better technique.
Better technique is this, and for instance, you can calculate NPV. For instance, you can inject a stream of solvent, like how much you inject, how much produce. Sometimes you are able to recover all the solvent. For instance, 70%, 80%. In that case, you produce a lot of energy, use less energy. Yeah, so steam, heat, you never recover, but if you inject solvent, you are able to recover. Yeah, that's it.
What other numbers, in quantitative numbers?
As I mentioned, you can recover it, around 80% of the solvent you inject.
But I'm asking how much energy return from energy investment, how much you put in energy, how much energy you get out.
That's a break even. So
break even.
Yeah, break even. At the current price, from the 50 and $45, we can break even use a steam solvent.
Because it doesn't matter if you put physical energy in, you get
right.
physical energy. You say it's break even.
Right, but that's right. But the energy means, remember, this is the energy conservation. What it means is energy conservation. So energy input, some of the energy will lost to the formation, some energy will produce, right? So you're gonna calculate. You can through the energy, you can calculate how much you're gonna lost the energy to the formation, the reservoir, and how much you produce. So the total inject energy equals the lost energy and produced energy. Again, some of them, as I mentioned, there's no particular number at this moment. Some of the other, more you recover, more energy you produce. Yeah.
But you still don't give a number.
I don't know the number at this moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. You don't know the number.
I don't know the number yet. Yeah.
You mentioned recovery of solvents as a key.
Yeah.
Keeping emphasizes originally at the time of Harley Clark in 1930, this was a big breakthrough that he did before people using solvents. He found a way to do it cheaper with water that was free. Of course, that's not the case anymore. Water isn't free, it's used by a number of consequences. So it's now economic going back to solvents. Keeping the update and recover solvents. Can you explain how that actually done?
Well, remember in the heavy oil bitumen, we cannot use water. We have to use steam because the water is not working for heavy oil bitumen. We have to use steam. And when the oil price is around $90 per barrel, nobody cares about the steam. So nowadays, when the oil price is less than $50 per barrel, so we have to think about other ways to produce oil. That motivates another. In life, the research to act solvent. That's why.
So the question is, how do you actually recover the solvent? How is that done?
How the solvent is done?
How do you recover? How do you recycle the solvent?
Oh, how do you recycle? The cycle, for instance, the solvent produced, you can separate it on the wellhead, separate it directly. Recover some of them solvent by distillation, or you heat. You can heat around 350s. Yeah, it heat everything, and heavy oil is going down, the light oil is going up. Yeah, inspection. There are three separators. The separators. Separator oil, water, gas, and solvent.
I guess some solvent will remain the finished product.
Some of them, but when you find out, if you, for instance, at the middle way of production, you're starting to inject solvent, and you still, at the end of the project, you still recover some of them, because some of the solvent will vaporize by heat later, and you still recover them. So through the whole life, you are able to recover them. Again, if, as I mentioned, if you are able to reduce 80% of them, recover every percent, that would be great. Yeah.
Just when you're down the line, it's not time to application. There's some solvent that crude oil produced, and that crude has had an application.
That's good. That's good actually. That reduces the viscous oil. That's more transferable through pipelines. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Other?
I have a question about how you put the geological data into your model.
Okay.
Presumably you know porosities and stuff from various wells that you have
Right.
in the reservoir.
Right.
How variable is that? And do you ever use random processes to model the geological porosity? Or
Right. Right. There's a different way to measure geologic properties, for instance, porosity permeability. One is through lab measurement through the well. Another one is through the draining management. And again, before you produce a field, the field you have to do either 2D or 3D seismic. You use the seismic data to measure the data beneath the wells. So essentially, you know a lot of information about porosity permeability through the seismic data. So use that one, import it into the so-called geological model. From the geological model, you go to the field model. So you have a lot of information. So if you measure wells, beneath the wells with the seismic data. Yeah.
okay, let's thank John for a very